Are we live? Looks like we're live. Alrighty, guys, I am back one more time and still playing with this mess. This actually might have been exactly how we left the desk. Yeah, I got breakfast. The dogs got breakfast. The Rottweiler got run out in the yard, and hopefully, oh, and the man's playing some video games. He got a new pirate ship video game. I'm so intrigued by, but I don't have time to play video games anymore. I don't even want to know what the name of it is. I don't want to look it up. I don't want to walk in the room when he's playing because it looks really fun. But yeah, so I am avoiding I'm avoiding video games at the moment. I got way too much on my plate. I don't need to get lost and sink hours into stuff non-living because I have plenty of living things to pay attention to. Okay, so do we want to start cutting some things out? Remember the daydream is something reminiscent of these in stacked setup. So staggered sizes, setting it up like that. So that's kind of the necklace I want. So I think here, other option is here. You know what I guess I could do? I could go bring that dress over here and at least take a peek at the fabric as it compares. Magnet sitting on the bar that this was hung on. And they started attacking. Okay, so here's a bit of that green, and it's coming up again. Question is, do we want this big bold effect? Or do we like this more subtle? And I'm thinking I'm leaning towards this more subtle. Colors are a good match, but I like that it's not as much of the green. It's all kind of intermixed in, where this is much bolder on green versus, and then this is just, that's too subtle. And it's showing up electric too, but it's not really. I might be able to roll this flat and use this as a backing for stuff. It might be really pretty. And I think those beads actually go really kind of cool. Okay, cool. So we'll do this. I'll turn this into beads probably. I might cut a few of these out just because I think some of these, like this here, has a really pretty appeal. So I'll probably cut a set or two out of this and then make beads out of the rest. And then this I will pull my set out of and also make beads out of the rest. So let me find my cat eye cutter. And I've got fat cat eyes. And I've got pointy ones, but I think I like these. These look really good. So, okay. What sizes was it? Let me grab you back. So that was the biggest one, and I think that's plenty big. So that is you. And then next down, and next size down, and next size down. Yeah, I think that will do there. Lovely. So now the next thing I'm thinking is I think I want them to be fat enough that they're almost like stones. Yeah, I guess that's the question is, do I want to put them together? Do I just want to string them together? Or do I want to connect them on a clay base? I think I want to connect them on a clay base. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. And then the next question is how thick do I want them here? And do I want them rounded? I think I do want them domed. I think domed is a good idea. Okay, so let's find a piece of plastic baggie. And all this is just an old plastic baggie that I, like the ones that I ship my rollers in. So I use those and cut them up and use those to dome stuff. So, all right, so we need our main center element first. So do we want it to be like that, or do we want to use this bigger flower? Actually, Really liking that. Really, really liking that scaled up. Yep, I think we're going to just choose that. And a little bit of all of this. I definitely want some of that dark purple in there. Oh, hold on. Let's try to catch that back as I had it. I think that's correct. Shoot in ever so slightly. I'm going to at least grab my crossbar. It stabilizes the shape and it gives me a little help pressing in. Okay. Usually, this isn't the fattest ever, so it's not doming overly well. But okay. Usually giving it a little wiggle like that helps a bunch. All right, so there's big one. Go ahead and get that back. That was here. Next size. Oh, and the cutters. I'm still working on getting those on the website. It just takes a while to print everything up, sand them all, get their little trays built, and get them all up on the website. So bear with me. I am working on it. I haven't forgotten it. It's just a ton of work. So for the next size down, I kind of want to, kind of like in these guys. That's kind of pretty. I'm sort of looking for something that I can get sort of two of that are similar. I can center that, but I think that's going to be too much as next to that. So I'm thinking it'd be better to, oh, I kind of like that. Let's get a little more of you centered. There's not any purple in that though. Wonder if I can find just a little bit of more purple. There we go. That's more what I want. Yep, coordination has improved with food. Becomes such a hard thing. Again, artisticness, maybe it's the bit of ADHD that tends to accompany being artistic in personality or obsessively artistic anyway. But yeah, keeping your blood sugars up and the lack of desire to want to eat because you've got something on your mind and food feels irrelevant. It's an interesting thing to try to kind of teach yourself that food matters. And you're having moments like I was earlier where I was just dropping things and struggling to, have the coordination to get the effect I want or make the decisions to accomplish what I want. A lot of times, if you just back off, go get a bite to eat, and come back and play in a little bit, it tends to help just kind of clear the brain fuzz and the funk. So I've been trying to be better and better and better about actually eating. Yeah, I like that better. Is that starting to show just a little bit more? Because that's what I like so much about that one is it's got a lot more of the purple in it than some of the rest of this does. So I just want to try to expose a little more purple. I don't want to pull too much white from those. You see how we lose white as we gain purple? So I don't want to take over with the purple and lose all the white. But at the same time, I do want some more purple involved. Now we're actually getting some shavings that are kind of usable too. That one's really cute. Come here. You just sit somewhere else. You're so not going to be grabbable again, are you? I was already trying to run off the table and get misshapen. Okay. Still a little bit more here. Again, I hate losing too much of that white, but do prefer the heavier amounts of purple. So playing a balance game. That doesn't look like that's detailed enough anyway. Alrighty. I think I'm getting almost enough of what I want. I like how it cleans up those leaves. Come down a little tighter in there. So like that's just kind of a jumble of stuff. A jumble of roller information. So yeah, it's like there too. It's a little better to pull that back some. Okay, I think I've got more of a consistent, and now I probably should go ahead and burnish you a little bit again. Might not have burnished it yet, actually. And unintentionally, it's great for burnishing. I did not design it that way, but it's nice and flat there. I do sand the edge so we get enough of, nothing's hanging off of it because it's a palm press. And it seems to give me a really nice burnish. I don't want to get too close to that. I kind of need to clean that up a little. Get underneath it and clean this up a little, but I don't want to press clay back into. So if I have to, I'll have to pull the clay up and move it out of the way possibly, but we'll see. Sometimes it's nice to use your fingers because it warms up the clay, keeps everything moving, all the plasticizers plasticizing. But sometimes you want a little bit more firmness to really flatten you out. Yeah, that's much better. Yep, okay. So I'm happy there. Forget the plastic. So I was aiming for that guy. About the center of both of those. You're lined up and still where I want you. It's a little handle, jiggy, shaky, shaky. Again, kind of the thing I'm looking at here is I want to complement the centerpiece. I don't want to overtake it because I do want that centerpiece to be a little more like, oh, this is the point. I can kind of add some of that same flower. Picking up, I'm going to look at that without trying to decide. What is the right amount of information without it being too much information? Kind of really like the flower sitting down there. I think like that. That's a pretty offset. So actually, this is a good example. I need to get these done again. Too centered, right? Flower's not that interesting. It's way too centered. Having the flowers coming in from the outside edges has a little more appeal to it. That one especially. I like that. So that's kind of that same idea is, yeah, I could center all these flowers, but I think we'll have just a better effect. Again, this one's centered because it's lots of detail to it and it is our main centerpiece. But as we go around the neck, I think we'll be happier if we do make a little bit of a little bit more offset, not so much of a this. This is the point. Sometimes it's nice to be a little more subtle than that. So I think that's too subtle. I might actually at some point go back in there and I don't need the plastic. It's giving me too much. Oh, that's really good. And that's even better. I don't know if there's enough purple in there though. I'm tempted to. So now that I've burnished down, I don't want to make too much of a fuss. just shaven out. There we go. But it needed just a little bit more purple in there. Something somewhere around there. About like that. And then for earrings, I need two of these. And I think I'm going to do this size for earrings also. Alrighty. That there, that's very pretty, but I think it needs a little more purple too. That with burnish again. And I'm dropping scraps all over in places they don't belong. Burnish paper. Finger, because I don't want to cause too much trouble. That's better. Rounded thingy. I'm kind of thinking for the earrings, I want them a little bit more centered like that. So this is probably going to be one for the earrings. Again, let me get it started without the cross member on it. Now I have a group defined. Sit in, shimmy, shimmy, shaky, shaky. And la la. Okay, so that I think is one earring. I want to find something similar. Oh, that's good. For the second earring, where it's kind of half set. I like that one. So it's about like that. Here a little bit. Okay. And in, pivot, and fumble, and do-do-do. Alrighty. One more time. Okay, so that's the earrings. I think I need one more like that now. That's very pretty like that. But that's too centered, I think, to go on the around the neck part. That's pretty, but I think I'll just save that for the tiny ones. That works. And that works. That needs a little more purple. A lot more purple. It was like there. That's not clear enough. Go there. That's very cool. Make sure there's still some white here, but I also really like that. There we go. Okay, it's my plastic. Make sure it's got some white down there. There we go. And cross member to make it easier. All right, and now I need two tiny ones. And that's really pretty. That's very pretty too, though. I think that one. I'm staying off those edges, making sure I'm getting enough information with that. too. I also like that a lot. But that's not enough information. Can't get that centered enough. Otherwise, I really like that. Down there. That, but I'm thinking that guy right there. Very similar to that, similar spot in the pattern to the other one, but I like it. Alrighty. So we can get this, make sure that we're where we want to be. Down. Okay. There we go. Okie dokie. Pull this up. Let's save most of this as usable for building floral. My bead canes. Call this over here with the stuff. Scrappiness. Have all of these little pieces. Make stuff with too. I'm gonna grab refresher scraps. All of that stuff will work great for making smaller beads out of if I choose to. All right. So that's what we have. Let's get you out of the way too. And this will definitely get rolled up into a bead. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Should be right there. Well enough anyway. Okay. Now, oh, we missed a piece there. And cookie sticker to clean up that edge a little bit. And you don't belong there. Alrighty. Finger burnish them a little bit. Just kind of make sure they feel smooth. Alrighty. I think I'm happy with those. This is the only one I'm questioning because it has almost a divot inward. So I don't know that there was any of this that was still good enough. Where did my burnishing paper go? There it is. That's pretty. That might work for that size. Remember correctly, that is this size. Yes. I'm noticing a little bit of that dip in. There we go. Oh, up, up! Don't do it yet. Top, bottom, and make you rounded. Shimmy, 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 shimmy. Oh yeah. There we go. Definitely better. Down here. Come hither. Oh, go back up there. Okay, so I am definitely quite content with that. I'm glad we did that because I'm just seeing too much of a divot in that guy. So finishing paper never hurts. Just give me a quick once over again. Might lose a tiny bit of dome if we press too hard. So it's a very, 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 very light burnish. I'm going to go ahead and go put those in the oven for about 30 minutes because I don't need them fully baked out. I just need them baked enough that they stay put. Don't want to lose those scraps. I don't have anywhere set up to put them yet. They will just get stuck on the end of this log, and we'll see if that ends up being something pretty or not. Oof, scoot. There we go. So go, 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 go. Come on, you can do it. There. Another pretty little scrap. And that nice little flowers. So cute. Kind of the goal right there was just one bead out of the end of that. Like that. It starts making sense. So we'll deal with beads in a little bit. Beads are not in this moment. Okay, so put you back away somewhere. All right, these guys go in the oven and out of the way before I accidentally poke something and mess it up because that happens. 30, 35 minutes. A few minutes to preheat. I use a little toaster oven. I have a brand on it even. Elite Gourmet. The double door, decent sized toaster oven I found on Amazon, and I like it. It's got a thermometers sitting in it, making sure that my temp stays the same. I've got a couple baking pans, top and bottom, to just kind of help dissipate the direct heat. And center shelf on a piece of glass. Everything bakes out pretty perfectly. So, yeah. So where are we now? We should do something with this. I can roll this into a log. Let's do that real quick. And I do still have another pile. He's a very good girl, and I have most of my projects put away. So all my tiles are available. And I am not sure. I have not searched every time I've been in a Dollar Tree, and I haven't searched multiple Dollar Trees in a long time. So I don't know if these are still available or not available or what the current status is. But they're just they're in the kitchen section cutting boards at Dollar Tree, and I have been using them for pretty much as long as I've been playing with clay. That was like one of the first things I found. It's like, oh, that's a perfect Dollar Tree score, and yeah, they've been wonderful. Too much stuff laying around. Okay, so I think these flowers might be the more important ones here. Give that a, like, you see, I'm not going down straight. I'm trying to get myself an edge where that bevels back so that when I roll that onto my beauty thingy, and I don't know that I'm going to need the whole thing. Bring that edge up. That goes up into the scrap pile. Plenty of this? I think I do. I could just go with the brown. Because I am running low on purple, so we'll go with the brown for bead core, or I could even do it on black. But if anything peeks through, probably rather do the brown. It's actually copper, one part, no, not copper, one part bronze, two parts black. Put it away. Roll it out. And let's see, it's a little bit less than half an inch thick. It's about where I usually like it. It's something like that. Sometimes I leave it thicker, sometimes thinner. I've got plenty of thickness to this, so I kind of want to just see where that's going to overlap to. Yeah, I don't think I get to salvage any of this. Yeah, I'd be able to salvage maybe a quarter of an inch strip of that, so it's not worth doing. Okay, I'm just going to kind of try to make sure we've got most, if not all, air bubbles worked out of there. Ah, that's pretty. Won't need the end. All right, I'm going to make a handful of these bead logs real quick. Let's see. So for this to close over very nicely, I usually keep the pure brown separate from all the rest of the color blends. Usually works well with like a knitting needle, small roller, anything that just lets you kind of roll that flat. And I roll from the edge this way at a 3/4. I'm just trying to make sure that that is in. And unfortunately, my black is so soft right now. I think the last two chunks of black I've gotten have been really fresh and really soft. So even mixed in with the bronze, it's still soft. And even mixed in with the purple mixed into the black and the bronze, it's still soft. So yeah, that is a really good one. Yeah, perfect. Container. Bronze is almost done needing a container, and the black can go elsewhere. Place to put them, they're less likely to get beat up. This I think I want to go ahead and cut a couple pieces out of it. I like some of these. Yeah, I like this with the that little bit of detail, so I don't think I want to overly burnish it. Part of me kind of wants to back it to thicken it up a bit. Ting, 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 ting. I don't want all of the back though. Meeny, meeny, miny, mo. Make the most sense to back it in purple. Or I could just cut them out, bake them, and then back them secondarily. I think I'll do that. I think that's what I'll do. And I think we'll go ahead and film them also. So where did I show you? Nope, you're not the one I was using. You're the other one. Okay. Make sure try to get any clay scraps out of here because sometimes they like to adhere. Ready. And I'm thinking these are awfully pretty. One bigger than that. One size up. I don't know if that's as wide as I want. I want to pick up. All right. So I'm thinking something wider. So, but a new shape I started playing with. Here's the fat ones. These are relatively recently printed. I don't know. Oh, maybe there. Ah, no, there it is. Mm, I like that. Okay, let's go ahead and dummy you. Move that corner as much of that as possible, but I like the diagonal effect of this guy. Just a hair down. Oh, I'm coming off the edge. Okay, right there. Mm, okay. I like that. That's a good one. All right, so something to make the earrings match then. I don't want nearly that wide. Wider than the narrow ones. That's pretty. More purple though. Don't count if you don't have enough purple mixed in. It's got too much purple, not enough. So again, that's why wide, or I could get in here and cut more purple out. Something floral, a good bit of purple in the mix. There we go. So again, we're contemplating that situation where the flower is a little bit more three-quartered and not taking over as the centered piece. That's really good, actually. Okay, there's one earring to match. Ish. Boop. Come on, find your spot. Kind of double cut that edge, but whatever. Just move you out of my way. Okay, I can heal it. Finger healing. Okay. So another thing I won't. Oh, that is definitely way too firm of a blade to try to slice Mokume Gane. Now I've explained it a few times, but you want flexible. A blade that flexes because pretty much thumbs down, middle finger pulling the corners up, and then support with the ring finger under the thumb. And get your cuttings that way. That solve it. Mostly, there we go. I like that. This one's on the right side, so I want this flower to be kind of left oriented. And I want that good bit of purpleness. Not gonna lie, I like that bit of the flower though, so maybe I get some purple to show here. There we go. That's what I wanted. I want to go all purple. I do want some of those little speckles in there. We want enough purple. Purple's balanced top to bottom. So I like that. The speckles, the angle there. Okay. And that's good. I'm going to go ahead and strip you there. I'm going to strip you across there. And do want these guys in a bead roll, but there's not enough information there, so I might just grab an extra piece and pop it in there. Cut a flower out of something else and put it in there because I do want that to bead roll. Okay. Take this off and play with the shape, or leave them stuck down. I know I'm going to need to back them. I want some of that texture left in it because that's what's cool. So, all right, one more tile. And we made it to the last tile. I would say I need to go find some more of these, but the problem is if I have any more, I have nowhere to put them. So this is as big as I can let my project get anyway. Should have kept that other tile out a few more minutes and use that to move that and put it later in. But it is what it is. Okay. So let's make a flower roll out of bead roll out of these. And I like the blade. Or I want a rigid blade. much better for cutting at an angle. So I want that to be my outer edge. And then it will probably start right about here. Will likely get me a whole roll. It's going to overlap that a little bit, that's fine. And then I can kind of do the same thing over here. Again, cutting that backward 3/4 angle. Alrighty. And I can all color out. And who knows what that might end up being. Sometimes those make good beads. Sometimes they're just a mess and they end up being a bead core. Yeah, not much going on there. Alrighty. So one and then the other. This one needs to be skinny. Brown? Yeah, that is brown. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just, no, it needs a little bit more. See, that's where I've just got extra purple sitting there in a chunk. It didn't look like it was made for anything, so it gets added to the pile. Alrighty. Out to what we want. That might be a little too skinny, actually. Yeah, I think we're keeping enough of those. Okay. These are way more abstracty looking flower segments than the other version because the other version had a lot finer detail because we shaved it so thin. But those are still cool too. Like I said, way more abstractish. One thing you can do still here too is you can come back through and just kind of pull a little bit of information back if you do want to try to get some of that purple exposed. Sometimes I roll them longer, sometimes I roll them towards each other, try to keep it kind of fattish. A bunch of scraps coming up, so scraps can get stuck on this guy. And now we're starting to get something a little more interesting looking. So see what happens. He might become a scrap spot. This whole blank spot there. No, I don't need that much of it. So lay you down. And I'm going to, no, come on, stay stuck. Belong there. No, you do. There you go. Essentially just pull the Mokume Gane slice off of that. And I'm going to pop him in there. And roll him in. Let it get too skinny, so fatten him back up. The more times you go skinny and fat, the more you distort your image. So I try to just kind of roll it minimal amount just to get everything seated. Because again, we're going to roll the heck out of it when we go to actually finish this. Keep these ends because they can just get thrown in the pile of scraps to go into bead cores as I'm working. So scrap. Okay, so that's that one. Box, there we go. I have a box. Go ahead and do one more of those, I guess. I don't know, those are kind of prettier. Not mushed. I'm trying to think. kind of fun. Stay fat. Go skinny on me. Stay fat. Okay. Like there. And my glass towel. Got a little one sitting here. There we go. Mush. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of a fun pendant now. Purple up in the base. There we go. See, that's fun. That is such a great little pendant. Mush again. And then I'm going to bring it up here like that. I'm going to find my little pokey device. Big craft needle covered in clay. Just find a spot to start. And go. Coming in from both sides. There we go. Yeah, he's fun. I'm going to go and just put him on paper so I don't have that overly shiny situation that happens on glass, because this I want to be a little fingerprinted and hand built looking. So this probably has nothing to do with this project, but it's just cute, so it's going somewhere. Actually, chuck that in the oven too. Perfect. That will need more than the 20-30 minutes. That's a lot of timer, so I have to remember that now. Okay, so I could do the same thing again, but I'm fine. But yeah, these scraps need to go somewhere to do something. So let's go ahead and throw these into a rolled into a bead too. Trying to decide because that's not overly obvious. What part is bead and where to stop it? Almost more like there. And yes, I did just try to use my blade backwards. Shh, don't tell anybody. Never a good idea. Always pay attention to which direction your blade is facing. Putting pieces on a thing, see if that works out and does anything interesting. I still like that side. That side's now weird, so I'll just keep stacking stuff on it till it's no longer that weird. So I've got my cut back edge. Let's do a better job of this. I might have, that's what it was. I tried to do it with that blade. Every blade has its purpose. Okay. And that's why I just keep a thing there. All the scrappy bits. All right, so oh, actually, I now have a grid under here. I need to get better at using it. Probably cut about there. And I could probably just shove you in there, and then we'll cut across about there. And now we have a square. That'll be easy to bead. Where'd my brown go? You know what? I'm gonna go just straight black. I don't think I'll have a problem with the black showing too much. Oh no, the big dog needs something again. Don't start with me. So bad. He needs something. Oh my. Getting cussed out by the big dog. She is the sweetest little old lady. She is 12 this year, and she's a Rhodesian Ridgeback. Her name is Sky. And she's hit that stage where they start to get a little senile. And like one day they just wake up as a puppy. And the next day they wake up as a grumpy old dog. with no tolerance. And then the next time they take a nap, they wake up thinking they're two again. It's absolutely hilarious. She's just the best dog. She is the most good natured, wonderful being ever. That's cute. I like it. I don't know. That just seems like such a waste, but whatever. Cut off whatever's too much excess. Your scrap. You look useless, scrap. You look kind of useless, scrap. Oh, look, a bead core. Or funky beads. That effect it. Oh, whatever. You're a bead core now. Is what it is. Oh, I did already cut that back. The reason I cut it back is it just helps keep from having the undercolor peeping through with that seam. It definitely seems to make a difference. Alrighty, we'll go ahead and cut this end off. Point at which pattern gets stupid. That's still got a good pattern, and I'm thinking there's no reason to keep it past. I don't really see anything down there that's worth using. And it's kind of pretty, but it doesn't like match the whole way around. So, all right, there's beads, more beads and stuff. Funky, grungy segment is now becoming more interesting. Still like that. Again, I could totally just form this into some sort of chunky pendant if I wanted to. It'll probably just end up being a bead core. All right, so that's done. This scrap piece that we should definitely turn into a bead. Mm, so not becoming anything, so I might as well just use it. Don't need nearly all of it though, so well, piece, piece. Needs to be a very, very skinny core. Actually, I can probably do. I can probably pull that a little. Get it to square out just a touch. There we go. Come on, pick it up. Very good. And roly, 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 roly. Okay. Which seals in pretty good. It's quite a pretty bead. I actually like it for the fact that it is kind of like it's very well patterned where it's patterned, and then it's just funky and busy where it's not, which is really kind of cool. Yeah, the difference in density, the thickness of your layers as you're building, really does matter, doesn't it? All right, what scraps do I have floating around? All of this mess, all of this. So this is that fun mount where let me drop these guys in the box so they're just out of harm's way. Be gone with you. When I'm making cores like that, especially if I'm using that black and they're extra um, unpredictable, um, I usually like to let them sit for a bit and kind of firm up, especially if that black's involved because it gets so funky. That's just too messy. Over here. Sometimes it's fun to just put your scraps back together and see what happens. You can either thumbnail or actually cut. You're definitely scrap. You're definitely scrap. You're definitely What are you? Away. Uh, maybe there. Such a bossy dog. Mom, you're ignoring me. I don't know if you guys can hear her little whimper whine, but that's her. Mom, I need something. I'm not going to stop till you give it to me. Probably need to go let her out or figure out whatever the heck it is she wants. Let's see. I don't know why it always seems like this comes out so fun, but I love doing this. Ready? Oh, wait, there's a little bit more. What do we got? Yeah, definitely, you need to be part of this. Now we're running funky in shape, though. Oh, there we go. Fill you in a good bit here. Push. And you can just lay down along there. And you don't like anything usable overlay. Okay. All the weird different things you can do with Mokume Gane scraps and extra pieces, and it doesn't even have to be Mokume Gane. This is like any kind of texture you're playing with. You can almost always just put your pieces back together. And I don't know what it is, but I love how that comes out. I love the abstractness of it. It's just funky shapes and colors, and especially if you're good at working without being overly intentional. Like you just kind of get in a rhythm of squish and stick and squish and stick, and it just comes out interesting. So again, I could cut a pendant out of that, or I could roll it into a bead log. I'm just going to set it aside for the moment because I am not in the mood to make the decision. That's another really important part of crafting and creating is understanding those times where it's just like, not ready for that decision. It'll show up when it's ready. That's an interesting artist concept. What am I trying to do? Oh, I know what I'm trying to do. Is the fact that art kind of almost exists outside of you, I would say. There's a lot of times where it's like you're just tinkering along or whatever, and then just something shows up kind of out of nowhere, and it's hard to say where it came from or why, but it's definitely almost like an external entity. It's the craziest thing, but it's just like comes to you and it's like, you need to create me. And you kind of don't have a choice. You just have to get creative, start doing things. And usually, if you just fall in that rhythm of playing and creating and not thinking too much, you get those downloads way more often. I said, as soon as you start looking for them, they're gone. It's not going to work. But if you can be super casual in the way you approach the things you're doing and just having a good time and not thinking, but just doing, and stuff just shows up. Art just kind of happens on its own sometimes. Most of the time, the really good art happens on its own. It's just like, nope, you're creating me. You don't have a choice. Back when I used to draw and paint a lot more, especially when I was painting, but even when I was just drawing, it's just things are just like ideas just show up and thoughts and things happen. And it's just no choice. Get obsessive, and I have no option but to flesh it out, you know? And I kind of wonder if, like, the digital technology, there's so much to be said for being bored because being ADHD, you can't be bored. So you're going to find something to do to not be bored. And usually they're kind of wild endeavors. And unfortunately, you stick a phone in my hand and I just get lost down some sort of stupid rabbit hole on the phone instead of being bored and then getting creative because I'm bored. big thing to try to remember, in especially in this lifetime, is boredom is magic. And there's so much to be brought to life when you think you're just bored. Those guys. Yay, that did have some color to it. Those guys. Sweet. Okay. So this is a very nice log for just little accent beads. It's full of all sorts of just busy coloration, abstract pattern, nothing super obvious. No blocks of huge amount of color. I might have a little bit too much white on this end up here, so I'll just find something greener and stick it in the middle of all that block. And then do the same thing there. That white is just becoming too much white. There we go. Fill it again. And we broke up most of that, but I want to break up a little bit more. That's a lot of white that went back down. I think that's good. Okay, now I do still have a big old chunk of color to get rid of. So, more of this. Just roll it over this. Probably. I don't think I'm keeping that. The same thing again. Start stacking scraps. You can make this go a lot further if you're trying to. When you're cutting it off, you could just cut it onto, like, clean it onto a sheet of clay somewhere, rather than just putting it in a pile. Because once it's piled, they all stick together, kind of, and it takes a bit of effort to unpile them. And so you could kind of looser pile them onto a piece of clay, and that works too. Come on. Oh, I got a big old, so like that, a big old chunkin pile. Just gonna try to open you up a little bit. There we go. And that's a bunch of white on the outside, but it's a lot of color on the inside. So again, just open you up, lay you down. More white there. The amount of color you have. Looking for holes. Filling them in. Quite a big pile of scraps here, so I guess I don't need to be that. If you really wanted to drag this out, you could. That's too much white. Over. There you go. Some pieces that are more like actual decorative scraps instead of just piles of mess. Put some of those in places. Don't want that much white. Anywhere that looks plain or underdeveloped, add a little bit more. Go through the pile. That's actually kind of interesting. I think I'm going to put some place it's too white and colorize it a bit. That's actually got a little shape to it. Nah, it just gets lost in the mess. Okay. All of you. And again, I got another. And then also, because we now know that this is relatively thick, again, if you wanted to slice back a touch, you can usually, again, I got too much white somewhere, you can just kind of slice it back and expose a little of the color underneath and flip that over and put it elsewhere. Yeah, so those are those two extremely abstracty. And then I'm not sure what this guy looks like on its other side. Assuming, yeah. Here. So I think I'm going to grab this white end here and see if so that'll make another bead kind of intentionally. So I'm going to actually go ahead and cut that one out so I remember that it's a specific bead like this one was. And a little flower bead. Okay, so now I have a pile of beads to be made. Still have to decide what I want to do with that. I guess it can still sit off to the side for a little bit. I might cut it into jewelry. Those for beads. Random scrap pile. You want to be a bead? You're very white. I don't know what you'll end up being. See? Hmm, Here we go. That's much more interesting. All the things you can do. Back on there somewhere that's boring, more interesting. Fatten you back up. Out. And see if you have a top and bottom. Okay, there we go. And it's still a little too white. There you go. Way more interesting. That gets to join the abstract bead pile. So, oh, my toaster's done. That's a good thing. All right, I'm gonna have some hot beads to work or charms to work with, but these are photo holder boxes in case anybody is interested. And they come in a big kit, and I think it's something about that notification number 5 plastic. They're Iris boxes. Okay, Iris is the brand. There you go. You can see that. So something about being that I think it's a number, yeah, number 5. I think that's the plastic that doesn't get eaten by clay or whatever, or eat the clay or whatever it is that happens. So not all storage containers work. Doesn't need to be airtight. Dust proof. That's what I like. So I have piles of these sitting everywhere now, unfortunately. Full of bead things, full of sometimes just straight up veneers that I've set aside for later. I could do that with this. Question is, do I want to make beads out of that? Do I want to make pendants out of that? Or do I just want to leave it alone? It would make pretty like square beads for that kind of flat bracelet thing that I like to make. Kind of almost thinking I could do that. That might be fun. Do I have any of those floating around here to show you what I'm talking about? I don't see them. No. It's not long enough to make a cuff bracelet out of. Yeah, I don't have any of those. Oh, there's one. There we go. So this style bracelet. Thinking those would be actually kind of pretty for the beads for that. I might do that. I might go ahead and cut them out. I probably won't be able to finish it before the wedding, but I cut them out. They exist. So I am done with these. They're all put away. Where is it? Rectangle. My two. It's around. There it is. 30. Okay. So rounded rectangle, size 30. And definitely won't good leafy appeal here. That one. I want them to keep. Oh, you know what though? Just realized. Hold on. Hmm. I want to double thick this. What color do I want for the back? Guessing that brown? Darkest version of that brown? They need to be thicker than that to get drilled, don't they? I mean, they're pretty darn thick, oddly enough, but they need to be fatter than that to get drilled. Yeah. All right. I need a sheet of this rolled out. That wide. Wide as that is. Ready? The 0 on a 0. That's nice and thick. That'll probably. Oh, you know what I can do though? Let's see which side's the bottom. Let's call this the bottom. And let's give it a little texture too. It's just a light little roll of that. What's cool about that is just a very moderate amount of texture. And that's the other thing too, is even though these rollers are super deep, you don't have to roll them deep. You can just get like a stenciling amount of texture when you want to. I'm going to lay that down. And then I'm going to top it with this guy. I'm going to go ahead and pop you back in there. Since this is all raw clay, it's going to want to stick together. So I'll just shimmy you in there. A little bit of light touching. I don't want to actually burnish and flatten out my texture because I love the texture in this. It's kind of half the fun of it. And now I lost my cutter. There it is. Oh, I have a random cutter sitting out here. You need to get put away. Okay. Now I'll go back and cut this guy out again. Still like you. I don't know why. I don't know what you'll end up doing, but okay. So now we got fat beads. You too. Probably. Like that. I think so. No. Ooh. Okay, not going to make a decision there yet. That's good. I think that's the mail lady picking up packages. That's good news because I didn't want to have to drive them out. There, or are you a sideways? No, I think you're an upright. Quarters. That's what you are. Alrighty. Even that don't center them rule. Sometimes they have good character to be centered. Alright, I could do it there, so I'm not gonna do it here because I like that too. These are fat little beads now. Okay, so here now I want to nab that offset leafy shape. That's good. How many are we at anyway? I need to keep count too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nice. I think I'm going to grab that and lay it in a new spot. Get rid of all the excess working around on it. Go around, so it'll still be kind of close here. Definitely. It's funny, it's so much clay, it's doming even though I didn't dome it. Oh, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Usually do at least 8 of these. I think recently I did one with 10 and smaller beads that I also liked. So let's make sure we've got plenty. That's my usual 8. Get that guy. No, he's weirdly shaped now. Go that way for a few, but they're not as good. Ah, that's what you need. Yep. A little bit of 3/4 too, but I just don't have it. So you're going there. And then I don't know if you're worth cutting out or not. Maybe off to the side like that. Okay. Oop, you got hung up. You go back on the tile. But anyway, just so you can see, it pretty well closes that up. Mushes your colors together. And now they're fat enough to drill. And it got a pretty little backing too. And so just very subtle. I'll probably sand it so it'll become even more subtle. But because there's a bit of mica in that, it should still be really pretty. So that's what that ended up being. It's not exactly the project we set up, but I think that'll make quite a striking bracelet. Probably use little bronze beads to separate it. I don't think, oh, maybe I can pull that off. It's still got a green tone to it though, so most of this bronze is now officially another color. I don't think I actually want to mix extra bronze into that green. You know what I can do though? Is I can just add, I guess I can mix all that together and then I can add some gold to it and a little more green. And there's more color. All right, so the bronze goes away, and that's just clean bronze. I had a little box there. How's the box you going? And that's what it was. Is this was the half mixed version. So this is going to be a very dark version of that. And let's see what this comes out like. Yeah, not too bad. It's a brownish greenish color. So I'd say just add a little bit more of that green and the gold back into it and make more of that color. So I'll play with that later. Okay. It is rolled up and out of my way. That was the important part. So now these need to go hit the oven. And I could poke them first, but I'm pretty good with the drill press on these beads at this point. Getting them to go straight through. Sometimes it's nice to manhandle them and get that bottom edge shaped out. The couple that I did it are nice, but they hold their top shape better if I don't do that. So I'll have to do that by sanding. Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at. Okay, in the oven. make a little room here. Those plates are going to be a little bit warm. So I have another glass. I do have a piece of glass. Like that down, just to let the heat transfer a little so I don't put it directly on. Here's this set. And those are really gorgeous. Yep. That is what I wanted. And then there's those guys too. It's in the oven. And those get a whole hour, if not a little bit more. Am I going to want to sand this guy? This set. Probably. All right, so these need to just sit on their tile till they cool down. And stack isn't going to help, so I'm going to put these not super hot yet, but I set over there for a few. Where are we at on live streaming? Hour and 20. Probably should do something with this too. I don't know if I want to roll it into beads or if I want to find the pendant in it. I kind of do. Beads out, doggy. Amazon at the door? Maybe. I think they already delivered something today, so maybe not. But usually once he's put away, he's pretty good at only making noise if there's actually something to make noise about. I love this so much, but I really do. There's a shape there too. See that? I almost like that idea of running it off the edge. Let's see what that does. Such a big mouse. Yeah, I kind of like that little bit of nature to the edge of that. I was wondering if I don't want to pull there. Havoc, it's enough, buddy. I'll come check in a sec. Okay. So, this guy, actually, let me just, so, this is why I have the cross members thing set up. Is partially, a lot of it is to have padded backdrop, but another huge portion of it is so that I can actually center things and whatnot. I push you down, push you in, find your spot. Come on, there you go. Ta-da, ta-da. Now, I guess I will pull that out. Come on, there we go. I think what the dog hears is the neighbor doing his lawn. Sounds like that's what's going on out there. Oops, I'll put these on the hot part. Exactly what he's yelling at. It's the neighbor mowing his lawn. You can see him. All right, guys. Up. Boop, boop, boop. Quiet, quiet. I know. Big dog actually sees something. He's a good big dog. And that quiet, guys. Okay. Also, it's a good abstracty, but somewhat patterned bead. Yep, I like that one a lot. Okay. That aside, because it's all super warm now. And see, you can do them like that too. Yeah, and that's why I have that setup built. I like being able to mix and match and stuff. So again, I'm trying to work on getting them on the website. They're not the cheapest set of cutters in the world. Um, I'm not a cutter manufacturer, and my process is more time consuming, I believe, and it seems like the way most people build them are who sell them. I think the printer I'm using is different style and it's a different material I'm printing, and they're different, but I get a really good sharp edge on them the way I do them, but they take time to process. So, like my rollers don't take much post production processing. I just clean all the excess residue off of it and rinse them and dry them, and they go in the box. Where the cutters, I have to do all that. Plus, I have to sand the backs down and, and just basically have to hands on each one a bit. So I'm not, like I said, my process just takes longer and I'm not as quick and consistent with it. And then if I get a bad edge, I have to reprint just a single one, which is a royal pain in the butt. So I don't plan on selling them in singles at all. I will sell the sets, the box sets like that. So it's a 10, every 10 millimeters, 10 to 100. So it's 10 cutters in a set. I don't remember what the pricing I had on this, somewhere around 20 bucks. 20, 25, maybe 30. I don't remember, but it was somewhere in that range, whatever the math worked out. Um, to make it not a losing proposition on my end. But yeah, and so yeah, they come with a little box and everything. So, and those boxes stack, or I also have let me see, there we go. I have it with a little box drawer set. So you can either drawer them or you can just flat out stack them. And they seat into each other, so they're totally stacked. But it's nice to have the little drawers, them up correctly, which you'll see me futz with sometimes. But yeah, so I'm working on setting up, and they're labeled on the outside so you know which drawer you're pulling. I'm working on setting this up to sell. I just, like I said, I've got a couple of them available. I think it's the triangle, what are they? The teardrop shapes. I think I have a set of those on my Etsy shop, or not the Etsy. Those are on the website. They're only on the website. I have the Skinner blend is on the Etsy. Skinner blend is also on the website, but I'm only selling the big box set of cutters on the website because they're, like I said, they're dramatic. So I don't want to overwhelm myself with having to print them up in order. I don't mind selling them. I'm happy to sell them, but I just don't want to deal with the potential of Etsy volume. Because I just don't have that system worked out where it's clean and quick the way the rollers are. So still have to figure that out. I think I'm gonna slice this. Do I need it? I don't know if I need the tile. I have one more sitting to the side. I have two here, and I have that one. Okay, I don't need this one, so I'll just slip it in the oven without pulling it off. And then, what time are we getting to? An hour and a half. I think I'm going to go ahead and take a little break. Let these guys cool down. Oh no, they are actually cool enough. I could sand them. I don't know if I should take a break on the live stream and restart, or stay going. I guess I'll take a break and let the dogs out and do all that, and then I'm going to come back and keep working on this because I'm supposed to leave tomorrow or Monday. so I want to get this set done very badly, and some beads to go with it. So yeah, all right, I'm going to close off for now, and then I will be back in a little bit, and I will get back to this project. See you guys in a few.